Yes. Now we're going. Okay. So, hello, everyone. Welcome to expert session number 119. Yes, we're almost there to 120. And today I have with me Mr. Hendrik Laubscher. Yes. Hendrik, we had a different topic to talk about today, but in our previous conversation, which close to members of our community, we were talking about having a different talk besides AI, because yes, everyone's already talking about AI and etc. And the point is, everyone is like running behind their tails. Is that the expression in English? I think so. So, you brought a very interesting topic to the conversation, which was to talk about the convenience market and the convenience around e-commerce and marketplaces and this market, because I believe what we're starting to say is that the convenience is not necessarily being looked as convenience, but as a normal status, as a like in the business world, we would say like a business as usual, but it's not, or what? And then I just came up with my initial controversial question: is that the is the marketing building and developing convenience so fast that they are not being able to show that that is convenience, and not that if that is convenience, besides that being business as usual. So is the marketing not being able to show convenience as convenience, but is the market turning convenience into the new normal, and we will need to come up with new types of convenience, even higher experience levels.
So, Gustavo, very nice. It's firstly nice to speak to you. Carlos, I hope you join us sometime. It'll be nice to have you on part of the conversation. Gustavo, I think the biggest challenge that we as operator or experienced people, we see things differently than most folks in sectors, because we are able to see things for what they are. Two, because we've witnessed it in other markets, we understand things in a different manner than what people see them in specific markets. So your controversial question, I think, is a really interesting question, because I don't believe that marketing, if you market a service as convenience, then you are telling the customer to expect things at a given time or at a specific situation. The example that I used in our conversation is this. In South Africa, about 6 weeks ago, Amazon Prime launched. Big hoo-ha, normal story, you can get the stuff delivered to you next day and all that stuff. But so I have that example close to me. Then news that I read in Latin America is that Mercado Libre now allows same day delivery of goods every day of the market. So that's not convenience. That sits in the back of the mind of a consumer, Gustavo, and says, I don't need to go anywhere. I don't need to go to Shein. I don't need to go to Temu. I don't need to Magazine Louisa. I don't need to go anywhere. I need to be just here because it's available. So this is the convenience tax is misunderstood in the sense that it's not the lowest price, but it's convenient to you because you go around your house, like our friend Carlos is in Brazil. You go to your phone, you open an app, you look for what you need, you put it in your basket, you buy it, and it gets delivered to you. That is a very big deal because that's not marketing. That is expectations and performance. The first company that essentially made this the normal is Amazon in America. But now in Europe, you have Zalando, you have all kinds of other businesses that have gotten to this place where they tell consumers that you can buy something and it'll be with you either same day or next day. Suddenly, this consumer, and it's interesting I say this out loud because I've looked at my own behavior. And obviously, I know it's the greatest size of survey in the history of marketing research. But one person, what does this do? I now look at my phone before I drive to the shop to determine whether I can get the item delivered to me because I can get it at a reasonable price. So, Gustavo, to your point, your question, the marketing isn't being done explicitly, but it's being, the execution ensures that I go to Mercado Libre, I go to Takealot, I go to wherever you are in the world, you go to that app, you open it, and you search. This is the thing that I think is being missed. And the reason why this is a big deal is when I started in e-com, like 15, 16 years ago, there was only one market in the world that had this. It was North America. Now, it's in China, it's in India, it's in Africa, it's in Latin America. This is the standard. And as a brand, this places major challenges on you because now you have to have your inventory in warehouses that's owned by the platform. Challenge number one. Hello, lack of control, my old friend, which is a nightmare. I've been on that part of the conversation. Or as a consumer, where do I go?
Mm-hmm.
So you have this force that is being driven not by AI, not by your wallet. It's being driven by your expectation of, I know I can put this in my cart, I can get it delivered, and it's there. So I can plan my life around that.
Mm-hmm.
And this happens globally. And this is something that I've not seen communicated to people at a scale, because you don't have people like me sitting and looking at the global picture.
Mm-hmm.
You have focuses on. So before we started, I said to you and Carlos behind closed doors, and I don't like saying this out loud because those conversations are for members only, but the AI story gets all the headlines year to date. But AI doesn't make my food, it doesn't deliver my food, but more importantly, it doesn't pay me a cent.
Mm-hmm.
I still need to have an app so that I can get stuff delivered from a shop or from a marketplace. And I think this is where we get lost because we don't understand the shift that's happening. I've not given you like a million answers to your original question, but to answer your question very simply, marketing is not being done because these platforms don't need the marketing. Their execution gets into the mind of the consumer. Berenger in London, Carlos in Brazil, you in Berlin, me in South Africa. Oh, I got this delivered yesterday. I got it delivered last week. Fine. I'm not going to go anywhere because I can go on with my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's very interesting because as you were talking, I did a course. This was like 2010 or 12, something like that, which was at FGV, one of the great university we have in Brazil. And the course was about online stores.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even about e-commerce.
Mm-hmm.
The term wasn't even there. It was about online stores. And one of the cases in Brazil was a brand for women clothing.
Yeah.
And the professor that was in the course, he was telling, oh, one of the cases that he was telling was, oh, we had they had a client, then the client did a purchase to the
Mm.
online store, and they saw, oh, this client lives near a store that we have. Why don't we call the store manager and say, hey,
Oh.
we have a client that did this purchase there. Why don't you guys get this the clothes, put it in a bag, and ask for a salesperson to go there and deliver, because it is so close. We don't need to send it from the warehouse and
Yeah.
etc. So this will give us a different experience for the customer. We didn't have so many yeah, Instagram and the social media wasn't even there. And that was their experience. And they said, oh, why don't, and then the client was very satisfied and etc. And all of
Mm.
that. And they said, oh, why don't we try to do this more often and
Yeah.
so. But they hadn't technology at that
Mm.
time to do that on a large scale. And I think that, as you said, and I agree totally. So is that the operation is
Mm.
becoming so close. It's coming so close to the
Yeah.
customer that you don't see more that that is becoming the new normal, let's say,
Yes.
and the convenience and etc. And connecting to what you were talking about. Uh, Mercado Libre and etc. Amazon, we have Amazon Prime and etc.
Mm.
In Brazil, in Mercado Libre, you also have like Mercado Play, and they
Mm.
have some of this experience inside their app, and they have also they did something different, as it is not a major market like the US. So
Mm.
they did something that's for me really interesting, because they partnered with a whole chain of different players,
Mm-hmm.
and they have, and you can access different streams but within Mercado Libre apps. So you can access like Amazon Prime or whatever. I don't know the name, but I can say something wrong, but you guys understand the idea. But you can access the all of these different services through their app, so
Mm-hmm.
you don't need to go there. So it's also another type of convenience. And but that's also interesting, because this for me, as a personal experience, I had this experience of having things being delivered very fast. But okay, I was living in Sao Paulo, and I think Sao Paulo, New York, Tokyo, London, they are different
Different
for me.
cities. Yeah.
Different things about cities and yes. But I moved to Germany, and when we started buying things online,
Mm.
and then I needed to get back used to have to wait like 1 week for
Mm.
things to come. So
Mm.
1 week, 3 days, and etc. And I'm living in Berlin. It's a bit for some products it's 2 days and or so. But also when Temu and these other players started to grow in the German
Mm.
market, I saw in study that these players, as they had so much price difference, the
Mm.
products were so cheap, they were managing to set that to make people buy from them,
Mm.
even though they needed to wait 1 week more.
Yeah.
So the time that people could wait they were managing to make people wait
So,
more, but the products were at a very
Gustavo,
lowest price.
what you have just explained, I think over the last 2 years is the biggest phenomenon that we've seen in e-commerce. And that is that we have learned that there are certain categories in which people do not mind waiting. I believe that if you sell CPG, goods for consumers, I think people want it in 12 hours. That's
Yeah.
my belief,
Mhm.
because I've run out of toothbrush, I've run out of food. I need the
Yeah.
stuff now because I'll. But what Temu and Shein showed me was that if the price is right, people don't mind waiting 5 to 7 days.
Mhm.
And that is a massive mind shift that changes the whole calculus for brands. The reason why this is so challenging for brands is that you can now get access to Temu markets because they now want local sellers on their platforms. But these sellers need to have their goods available to them in 2-day shipping. So if the item is coming from China or from the Middle East or wherever they're shipping it from, you're going to wait 5 to 7 days. But if the item is in a local warehouse, you will get the item in 2-day flat. I had this last month where I bought a wok, yes, a wok, because mine broke. And I said, I'm not going to go to the store. I actually want to see how this goes. And it was a Chinese business that front loaded inventory in our local third party marketplace. Duties was already paid, but was part of the price. It was shipped just like it came out of China. I had it 2 days. The thing is, what these Chinese platforms have shown us is that there's different solutions for the same problem. So you have the Amazon world where you can get things in 12 hours or in certain cases 60 minutes, then you'll pay a fee, or you will wait 5 to 7 days. But I think the point that you made in your question was, I think it's an important one, is density of the city in which you stay is important. So I stay 45 minutes to an hour outside of Cape Town. So it's in the middle of nowhere. If I buy something from Amazon, it's next day shipping. Take a lot, next day shipping or 2 days. If it's groceries, it'll be picked and packed in the store and will be with me in 60 minutes. But the consumer doesn't see this because they don't care. But Amazon has made people believe that you need to have clothing, home goods, white goods, whatever, available in 2 days. No, it's not. People are willing to wait if there is a price. If the price is right, and Temu have shown us that white label or private label products that has no brand, that comes from a factory that is standing still, people will wait. But that's the model that's changed. They're essentially saying, we will use our eyeballs or our audience. We will create demand for you. And then when the demand hits, i.e. 100 woks are available, then we will tell the manufacturer, you need to go make 200 because we need 100 to be front loaded in certain markets. These are the small things that people don't understand because they don't do test buys. I'm sad. I buy small things from Temu, Shein, Amazon, everywhere, because I want to see what these companies are doing, because this is the details that consumers doesn't care about. At the end of the day, what we are seeing is that you have this picture in that I see. So in the middle, you have your local marketplace, Take a Lot. In Latin America, it's Mercado Libre. And in America, it's Amazon. In China, it's the Alibaba platforms. In Europe, it's Amazon. They sit in the middle of the market. Below them, you have the Chinese platforms that are essentially pressuring them on price, that's forcing them to adopt to the pricing. But then on top of this, you have the retailers. Name whatever retailer you want. So for me in Africa, it's Checkers. For in Latin America, it's going to be Magazine Luiza. In England, it's Tesco's. You can go on and on. But these people sit on top, and they don't have too much wiggle room because they sell products with low to no margin. So you have the marketplaces wanting to sell CPG, and you have these Chinese players selling stuff that you just need for your house. And until you understand that at the end of the day, what are these guys all doing? They're competing for they are competing for the conversion. And it goes back to that convenience of knowing that I'll get the item because my card has been swiped.
But I agree with you that they're competing for our
Money.
For our money at the end of the day. But on top of all of that, don't you think that I think that convenience is a very, very important and relevant size and chunk of what we want as consumers.
Yeah,
and that's that. I don't have anything to argue around that. But the convenience side is a step lower under the funnel, because at the first point, all of these guys, they need to compete for our attention, and then the convenience is where they win our
conversion. It's the conversion and a click.
Yeah, but more than conversion, the convenience wins our. Yes, Berenja, please. The convenience wins our loyalty.
Yes.
I was going into a little bit the same thing, Gustavo. It was not just to help you, but it's more to discuss this. I think the convenience. Please. Yeah, there is. So, and Hendrik may remember that from Amazon, that one of the things that I remember from my Amazon days, 3 pillars of commerce: selection, inventory, pricing, and convenience. And they are the 3 things that actually makes the experience and the different competition. And in the 3, then I think the convenience is what creates the habits and the expectations. So that's what gets you to think, okay, the convenience of actually grabbing a number of things in at the service station is one thing that give you the habit to, what type of items you will look at there. Then the habit of having a next day delivery when you're on Prime, for example, then give you also a number of things, context, intent, that you will go directly to Amazon. And then there is another type of different convenience that you will go to for other things. And I think what is interesting in Hendrik, what you said at the beginning, is that same day, especially, redefine those habits and those contexts. Because same day is different. We are kind of used to think that online versus offline, you have to wait. But then next day, it's nearly kind of becoming something that you can do every day. So it's kind of the limit of that. But the same day creates a different expectation for the consumer. It's becoming something that could be actually redefining when and how and which type of brands you do. So it's redefining the habits that you have built on with the convenience that you are used to.
It's like the I don't know if that's from your where you guys live, if you had that, but it's like the Domino's, like 30 minutes are free. We had that in Brazil, also in Rio and São Paulo and city. They have created the habit of if you don't have anything to eat, you call pizza in 30 minutes, you have it, or it's free. And it was like in Brazil, in Rio, as I remember, at a certain point, it was only on one day because they were losing some money. But it was for a lot of people, it was like people were like playing with that. So, oh, let's order some pizzas and let's see if we have that for free or not. And yes, and I had one guy. I was in my intern, and he was there too. And he said they always get late with me for me, so I just order. Even though even though if I don't have money, I just order because they are always late when they deliver to my house. And so that exactly as you said, Berger, and very well said. That you got the
But I think the point that Berenger makes here, and I think this is where the current battle is. So I'll say this to you. I don't know how relevant it is, but Prime Day this year in South Africa was focused on CPG goods. It wasn't focused on electronics. It wasn't focused on it was focused on CPG. And that tells me that they understand that they want to be part of that same day delivery. So I have in South Africa, we have the largest retailer in Africa, Checkers. And what they did, which I thought was very clever, is they created an AI, a bot. And this bot essentially gives you the opportunity to swipe, like Tinder. Do I want the item to go into my cart, or or am I swiping up and saying, you know what, I don't need this? At the end of the day, these brands want to create models to help them calculate when I need what and when, so that they don't need to spend marketing on it. Gustavo, that's the other thing. This whole thing that we've discussed thus far, marketing is not needed. There's no additional email, social, paid marketing that needs to be done, because the consumer already starts the conversation or starts the process inside the app. What was interesting when you spoke about the food delivery in Brazil is, and I'll jump to that, is that's why for me, Prosus investing in food delivery in multiple parts of the world is so very interesting. So you've got iFood in Latin America, which is a massive business. Then you have them exiting Delivery Hero because they bought what's the orange, the big German brand that basically
Lieferando.
Yes, that's the German business, but they're part of a massive The point is
Delivery Hero.
Yes, the point is that these,
it's now being acquired by Uber.
But the thing is that these instant businesses that do food delivery as well as groceries become a massive challenge for these horizontal marketplaces, because the consumer is going there with a different mindset. I want this in 45 minutes. I am hungry, so I want the pizza to be delivered to me in 40 minutes like you promised. What's interesting is that Checkers, the retailer, they have a policy. If the goods are not delivered to me in 60 minutes, I get the delivery free, no questions asked. So it incentivizes their drivers and their packers in store to do stuff as quickly as possible to ensure that they can generate that transaction inside, the time. And let me just say this out loud. This thing is an absolute Trojan horse. I believe, and I can't kind of prove this, but I believe it's generating upwards of 500 million rand. It's 500 million rand. So in dollar terms, let's say it's about $60 million a year at the moment, which didn't exist 5 years ago. But if you drive past a Checkers store now, you see motorcycles with their logo on it. I counted 30 yesterday driving past them. That is 30 transactions that is being generated by somebody not being in the store. And the irony for me in all of this is, what does these on-demand things do? Wait for it. It ends the purchase of products nobody wants. You know, those rushed purchases when you're standing in the shop? That's gone. I live in a town where we have a very large percentage of retired folks. This is the best way for them to manage their budgets, because there's no excess order. They control what is in their basket, but more importantly, they can just deliver, the goods will be delivered to them. I know it sounds completely against everything that we've discussed, but what I believe is that this is the importance of CPG, and this is why we will see Mercado Libre, Amazon, Takealot, insert whatever horizontal market was. They want a piece of this. Why? Because this generates exactly what Berenger said. It's the flywheel. If I have it, I'm starting my my purchase there. I'll then find other things because it's going to be suggested. Let me just get the air quotes in the suggested.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly I have a much larger basket size because the algorithms understand what I want. Mm-hmm. But this is happening at a global scale. The one thing that you said earlier that I think is really interesting is that I think Walmart in America has shown retailers that you can use your stores the same way a warehouse is used to fulfill products.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Until you get to that place, then the whole debate of retail versus e-commerce for me goes up in smoke. Because now you are competing against another app on your phone and you need a reason for that purchase behavior. So I'm just telling you from what I'm seeing, if I look around the world, most retailers have the on-demand 60-minute delivery, if not quicker. I don't know how you do a delivery in 30 minutes, but that's not for me to worry about. But this is how you start. You go one level down in the funnel. You know that person is going to be coming back to you because it's a convenience purchase.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sorry, Gustavo. Can I say something, or do you want to continue?
I just have one observation and one question, and then let's see if that works. But one observation is, I don't remember where it was, but I remember that was one delivery service. I don't remember if it was from a supermarket or so, that you could buy the item. I think it was in São Paulo. You could buy the item and they could deliver to you. That's good. You receive it. Or you could select and they would organize that inside your fridge. And they would just get that and put inside your fridge. That goes to another level. But I have one question, and then Teresa, please enter. But Hendrik, you brought some observation. I don't think I think it's important for us not to move before talking about this. But you said that nowadays the retailer that you said, I forgot the name, Checo, something like that.
Checkers, yes.
Yeah, it's full of delivery guys there. And Walmart is showing that you can use your retail store as a warehouse. But do you think that the convenience will make the stores empty? With that, I agree with you that the shitty products, let's say, will not be sold anymore. But do you think that the convenience will make the stores, at least the CPG stores, become like deserts because you will only buy from house or using the convenience?
Definitely, and I say this wholeheartedly, I love retail. Can I just say that again? I love retail, and I get really angry when I hear this conversation about e-commerce is battling retail. No. These on-demand services, Gustavo, are making retailers more optimized. You know what the demand is in the store, so you're not investing in inventory that's sitting on the shelf that never gets by, because you have signals. I'll tell you guys a quick story, because I always like me a
No,
story.
but my point is different, and that I agree totally with you. It will make the retailer. Uh, 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 it's a game changer for the retailer, because they can only buy, because they will be able to buy only what people buy, and when people
Yes.
buy, they will have more information, and with AI and etc., they will have more information on the prediction and all of that. I agree with you, but my question is that, is this convenience evolution will this become, will the retailer store become more empty from people? I don't mean empty from products or so. I'm not saying that they won't be selling,
So let
but
me answer
my
your question for you. Let me
yeah.
answer your question for you. So what you're essentially saying is, less people, there will be less feet in stores, because people are packing orders, because they are order. I can tell you that they have, inside in this retailer in South Africa, they have staff that's basically been given the job of, you need a trolley and you are
Mhm.
packing the goods, because that is being shown to the consumer on the app. I don't believe that this is going to lead to less foot traffic. I believe that there are certain things that you want to see.
Mhm.
Why? Because you want to see it in your hands before you buy. What is the biggest challenge in CPG? Fresh, fresh, and fresh. I want to see the bananas before I buy them, because I don't trust the picker. The bananas might be rotten. I want to see that I'm getting the freshest tomatoes, not because the label tells me that it's best before whatever. So I think as long as we have retailers that have fresh as part of the conversation, you are still going to have shops. I think there will be smaller stores, yes. So we have a retailer in South Africa called Woolworths, and Woolworths are now playing or testing smaller stores and dark stores because of their apps. So I think there's a multitude of things here, but I think the biggest thing that I just want to say again, as somebody that loves retail, there are still large parts of our population. I don't care what market you live in. Could be the UK, it could be Brazil, it could be Denmark, could be South Africa. You are still getting in your car on a Sunday morning or Saturday morning. You are going to the shop, you are buying your coffee, and you are walking through the shop, because that is how you operate. There is
But
no
that's
market
yeah.
in the
Sorry.
world. Yes.
No, no, no. Sorry. No, I completely agree, and I don't think that's just for CPG. For example, after this call, I have a call with my dad. He's been very reluctant to do the live commerce. He sells dress shirts, like, and like I think I finally convinced him to say, okay, let's do a live shop on Instagram. It's gonna be V1, because I have to go to a store, physical store, to buy my clothing. I don't care how whatever you can talk about e-commerce. I don't buy anything online unless I trust the brand and I need to know
Yep.
that my size, it's that size. And so it's more like that, like, so I think what I believe for retail is more like what I see here in Brazil, which is São Paulo, so much bigger than Denmark. You see the sort of emergence of these convenience stores,
Mm.
so smaller groceries, really close to my place. So now you can go there because it's just easy to grab, right? And then the bigger monthly purchase that you used to do a few years ago, like that, maybe that model is kind of decreasing, right?
Mm.
But it's almost like the Uberization of stores. So you need to have this stores, and you can see, like in São Paulo, like there's an emergence of condos, like big apartments. Everything is because people want security. So you have everything, like the apartments, the buildings are becoming almost like sports clubs. So you have everything there.
Mm.
So it's and then we go back to convenience, which is your point. Like you have smaller things to serve people where they are, but from a brand equity perspective, I think that's amazing. It's just how you're going to adapt, right, to that, because you have to be where your customers are.
Can I
so
just,
yeah,
Gustavo, before you go on, I just need to make mention. This is the once a show that Gustavo needs to mention that his father sells dress shirts. I have not been on a show with him where we talk commerce and his dad's dress shirt company. Carlos,
because it's so close, near and dear to my heart, because I see this,
But I was gonna say to you, your father is the kind of business that I see that is struggling at the moment to determine what to do. Beringer, I'm telling you now, has multiple examples in her head of seeing exactly the same. Because in emerging markets, brands are having to do things that they've never done because the consumer now wants multiple touch points. I come back to something that I learned when I was in China. And I'll always remember this, and I'll always remember the person who told me this. It is a very senior person inside Alibaba, and he said, as a matter of fact, just easy. It takes us 17 touch points, 17 touch points with a Chinese customer to get to a conversion. That is a sophisticated market. Every market has a different point of view. So if you are selling dress shirts, I can tell you that on Instagram in South Africa, second-hand fashion, I see lives almost by the day of people showing you second-hand Christian Louboutin shoes or handbags. That didn't exist. So lives for apparel makes total sense, and it's one step at a time. But the whole thing that we all agree on here is that e-commerce is a part of retail. I wanted to say, before Gustavo and you jumped in, I wanted to say that I always view the world in a very simple manner. If China, the largest and most dense e-commerce market in the world, can only get to 50% of total retail being e-commerce, we, as the rest of the world, have no shot, and I mean no shot, of e-commerce eating retail. It's about different size shops. It's about different experiences. I don't know if it was the conversation that you had with Beringer a couple of weeks ago about the AI work, but I think we need to make a point of saying that retail has humans as part of it. You want to know, and we as people that work in the sector need to be very mindful of the fact that you are dealing with different people in different places with different economics, but we need all of them to ensure that the monthly shop is still the monthly shop. But we as unfortunately, e-com gets this rack of, we want to take jobs away. It's like AI. Everything is going to end. Robots is going to come and eat us. Gustavo, can you just tell me where I need to pay the €1 fine for mentioning AI on the call? But the point is that we must realize, and I'm very passionate about this, is that we need people, whether it's the person who's delivering my parcels because I bought online, whether it's going to the store and I need to speak to a clerk for a return on everything. We need humans. And the convenience tax that I keep coming back to is not something that should take away from humans in the sector. We need more people, because I have a concern, and I see this at the moment happening in Germany with Cesonomy being acquired by JD.com. The German government is saying You can buy the business, no problem, but you have to agree that for 5 years there will be no terminations. You are not going to cut people. I'm watching that story not because of it's a Chinese business going into Germany. It's because we have this perception that when we add technology to everything, we optimize it and it works. I have a news flash for everybody. It's not that easy. It's a disaster normally. I'm not going to even talk about buying and building businesses on top of other businesses. Guys, where should we go? Berenger, I'm almost convinced that you have questions.
Yeah, just a note for the fine, for you to be fined, you needed to say agentic AI, so you're free now. Yeah.
Okay.
But
great.
Yeah, but just an observation, and that's as Carlos was saying, that's maybe a bit of a cultural and more structural change, because in Brazil we were used to do like huge monthly shops because of interest, because of the prices were always getting higher, so people would go to the supermarket once a month at least, so you could buy everything that you could, because you would never know how high the price would be on the next day, on the next week or so. And that was one thing, and that is something that's different. And nowadays the interest is not so, they are not so low in Brazil, but the market is changing, especially in the big cities like Rio and São Paulo. But because of security, as Carlos was saying, because people don't want to be moving around the city because it's dangerous and etc. So the convenience is helping on this side, but the economy is not working on the same side. So the prices are still getting higher month after month because of macro economy and etc. And we know a lot has changed. But
come on, don't step around the issue. It's called what's happening in the Middle East. Just say it. It's called the Strait of Hormuz.
But not only that. We have in Brazil specifically, we have the local problems and etc. So you have the bigger macro economy, and then you go to the more micro economies. But Berenger, do you believe that these type of the convenience can go, as you were saying before, of course? So I think that connects with what you were saying there in the beginning. So the convenience helps to create and to change the habit, right?
Yes, the convenience creates the habit, creates the expectation, and then but it can change as well. But and that was what I wanted to say a bit earlier, is that convenience is really depending on what is the established habit of the shopper. So,
correct.
And that's very interesting here. We're talking about the monthly shop for Brazil, and you explained very well, Gustavo, why. The equivalent in the UK would be a weekly shop. But not, it will not because of inflation. It's just because people kind of buy every week, and there are entire grocery systems that are built on this weekly shop. Ocado, Tesco, Waitrose, and they go with different model to get to do that. So we were talking a bit earlier about difference between a central warehouse and having a store pickup. Most of the grocery deliveries in the UK are store pickups. They are not warehouse. Yeah, and actually Ocado, which is built on a warehouse model, it has problem with that because it's very and the refrigerator are smaller in Europe. Yes, very, very good point. So you just to go back, that convenience is very dependent on the people that you're talking to, age, gender, number of people in the household. income level, of course, but even without thinking about income level, all of these difference will have very different behavior, and that's where I wanted to see, wanted to go as well. I don't think that convenience is something, and it's to go to your in the same way, Hendrik, that you said about. It's not because suddenly you have next day delivery, then everybody or same day delivery that all of shopping will be coming through this path. And actually, in London especially, we had a lot of same day delivery dark store network like Gorillas or others that has started after COVID, and they are reducing now. There is less people doing that, and there is discussions about whether or not it is interesting, or at which point it is interesting, because it's also costing quite a lot of money. So do we ask? Yeah. So my question was actually on that, because I think there is in the UK there's an expectation of free delivery if you pay for 6 days, a bit premium if you want next day, and very premium if you want same day. But I wanted to ask you if it is the same in the markets that you are, that you have worked with, because is it kind of a rule of e-commerce, global e-commerce, or is it different than? And then depending on that, then the next day delivery might be cheaper in China, maybe, I don't know, for that it could be in Europe.
So what you have said is very interesting. So I'm seeing North America and Western Europe are basically saying no to free delivery. That doesn't exist anymore because of the costs. I'm seeing that still exists in China because of scale, but you need a membership. So I think one of the biggest learnings that I've had in the last 18 months, and this is not really anything new, but I think the most interesting thing that we do not spend enough talking about is how Amazon has created the most important customer data set ever for a business. It's called Prime members.
Yeah, totally.
And I'm seeing every other business. So Alibaba has 88 VIP. Everybody has their different version of this. And to Berenger's point, so in emerging markets, so in South Africa, India, Nigeria, what you've explained, I'd go a step further and say, so 5 to 7 days generally is, we don't care. So we're not going to charge you for it. It's going to be inside the pricing of the item. Next day, you are going to pay a premium for it. And then same day is where you're only offered that if you're a member of a particular platform. So Takealot have essentially monetized the delivery, where if you need to be a member of the loyalty program called Takealot More, where if you're a member of that, you get it for free unless you are willing to pay a premium for it. So I believe that amidst all the chaos that AI has created, I think most brands, and especially large platforms, Berenger, are struggling with how do we determine what do we charge. We cannot have three, because logistics is in most cases the largest cost center for an e-commerce business after marketing. So I just think that it's dependent on where the business is. So if you are like GoPuff or Gorillas or whatever, you have marketing and you just say that we are going to essentially we're going to substitute, the pricing of the delivery, and we'll give it to you as a marketing cost. But I think the markets that I look at the moment, if you want it same day, you are going to be paying, I wouldn't say a premium, but you're going to be paying, I think I got the number down to, it's like 65% of the item's value. In some cases, that's what you are paying for delivery for same day. But then on the checkout page, you will then get the option of, do you want this in 3 days time? Well, then we can give it to you at like half of the price. Or if you're willing to wait 5 days we'll give it to you for free. I think these platforms use these as levers to grow volume for their logistics businesses, because what's interesting is down south here, we have Takealot, which is claiming to be the largest marketplace in South Africa. That's a discussion for another day, but they have now essentially said to the market that you can use the logistics service as a standalone business. So if you are a retailer or if you're a brand, we can use you to deliver our goods to wherever you.
Yeah. It's like the FBA, but without Amazon. Yeah.
And the challenge is that, and I see this challenge worldwide, is that if you are building a dense logistics network, it's not cheap. It's a lot of investment. And once the investment is done, unless you find creative ways to generate revenues from it, it struggles to generate the revenues to offset the investment. So all in all, I think your point about loyalty, I think, is a very big deal. I think the great platforms understand that they need to have a loyalty system where they can essentially use the membership fee to offset the costs of logistics.
Yep.
But more also is that they want to create a new marketing opportunity. I'm seeing Amazon, now that I'm a Prime member here down south, that I'm getting marketed a lot more now than what I was pre-Prime, i.e., buy our CPG, buy your stuff, because that's not the case. So to summarize today, 1, convenience, I believe, doesn't happen without a habit. Berenger called this out, and you only create the habit if you have a service that repeatedly creates the same deliverable, i.e., Gustavo will get the item next day or 2 days afterwards, because we promised that. Secondly, the convenience needs to be offset by some fee, because it costs money to these platforms. I'm seeing more membership platforms. It's just, call it what it is. It's a different flavor of Amazon Prime, because those groups of customers essentially generates recurring revenues without a dollar, euro, pound, real of revenue being spent on marketing. That's the most valuable set of customers. But I think the point of today's discussion is that the rest of the world is not standing still. And what was normal in America a decade ago now is visible all over the show.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I think we can go on and on, but yeah, let's call it for today. Yeah. So, well, Berenger, please give us also the last impressions.
I love the discussion. I two things I get from that. The differences in the habits across the world, and it's important to go to that level to be able to understand the different trends. The importance of convenience, of course. I'm a very big fan of that, and I think we didn't touch on it, but I think that you Hendrik, in your conclusion, memberships are creating stickiness. Reason to go back to Amazon, or reason to go back to Temu or GD Buy, for example. So it's important, because then that's where you create also another habit, which is to check first the platform that you are a member, or you have a special status. So lots of things to play here, and we have spent an entire hour without talking too much about AI, which is good. Refreshing.
Yeah, that's That's amazing. And as you touch also this point, and Hendrik touched also that, I just remember, and I think the next thing that will be all the companies and especially retailers as going from what we're talking about, membership and convenience, is they will fight for our share of pocket, no? Using the term, because as the streaming, if you say some years ago we were paying for paid TV, and then the streamers appeared and said, okay, oh, it's cheaper, and nowadays it's even the opposite of cheaper is
It's getting more expensive.
more expensive thing. I always like to say cheaper, but yeah, it's more expensive having all the streamings than we were used to pay for the paid TV, and maybe that's another thing that will happen with retailers and etc. Because nowadays basically everyone, or at least every house, you have one person paying for Amazon Prime and one person paying for all of that comes together. And this, I think that will be the next fight of the retailers and the products. And then convenience comes to be the thickness of our, will be the glue that will make us not moving from one membership to another, from one platform to another. That's my last thing from here also. So please, Hendrik, where can we, if you have a last observation, please, and where can people find you?
So, Carlos, thank you for the opportunity to have a conversation with you.
Gustavo, please.
Gustavo, I'm getting to you.
Beautiful.
I know my friend Carlos is gone. I'm just making sure that he knows that I mentioned his name. Gustavo, also appreciate you for your time and your thoughts. Berenger, you always add value to a conversation, so thanks for joining. I echo the sentiments of, we had an entire conversation with very little mention of that AI thing. And I think as operators, we need to ensure that we don't lose focus of the things that are really important, because we are all chasing the solution for a problem that we might or might not have. The best way to find me is get in touch with me via LinkedIn. I'm always open to conversations. I think Evolve has provided me with the opportunity to meet and learn from great people. So I'm always looking to learn more, because you never stop learning. That's just how this works. And Gustavo, on that note, till our next conversation, and see you soon.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Berenger. Thank you, Hendrik. And thank you all. Bye-bye. See you next time.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.